We're now going to have another session on verticals. So we've been talking about verticals for a few years now, from the point of view of the local search providers, but also from the point of view of the vertical players themselves. And we wanted to have the testimony of somebody who is active in one of the verticals, which is one of the most important sectors represented in verticals, which is the travel business. And it's my pleasure to welcome Maria Costera, who's a partner in JTT Travel. So Maria is very well known in the technology industry. Among others, she founded Expand, which is now a world leader in visualization solutions. And she invested in JTT Travel, which is a technology and content company praised by the UNTWO as the best technology to enrich tourism experiences. So, Maria, the floor is yours.
Hi. First of all, I had a question for Sven, but they did not give me the mic. So he's not even paying attention to what I'm saying. It was a question for him. Sven, I'm talking to you. I wanted to make you a question, but they took the microphone, so I'll stop by you. I will agree to disagree with Sven that there's a lot of content out there. There is a lot of content out there. People should monetize, but the problem is that it's the wrong content for the millennials. So I'll build from there. So I'm absolutely in agreement that you can capitalize on content, but most companies have not written that content correctly. So that goes also to the first question that we had here about can our salespeople be consultants to all our customers? And the answer is yes, if we bring different types of people as to sales support inside the organizations. In the old times, we used to have tech sales support. So we had a person inside of the company who were in the chemical industry that would know about chemicals and would provide all the technical data to the salespeople so they could make the pitch. Now, to the new customer, we need people from the human side. We need psychologists, we need historians, we need a different type of people that understand different needs that can help these consultancy products back to the companies. But anyway, this is just my 5 cents on everything that was said before. You have my... Yeah. So, this GITT is Just-in-Time Traveler, just to explain a little bit the weird name. So we're a tech platform for unique travel and lifestyle mobile guides. Beautiful sentence that says something that we're going to say afterwards. So I'm going to use a lot of Google's words. Google came up with this concept of micro moments. So it's an intent-rich moment when someone acts on a need. Basically, it's what we were saying before, 170 times a day you're checking your phone. That is a micro moment. You have some kind of need and you act on it. There's a 48% increase of mobile share of visits on a cell device. That's huge, and there's an 88% growth on conversion on mobile. New mobile behaviors create a new consumer journey. So this is just a little summary of what travel industry is. So in the travel, micro moments fall in 4 categories: the dreaming, the planning, the booking, and the experiencing. Most of what we've been discussing here in terms of technologies, they follow under the planning booking, and I'm going to go exactly on the other 2 extremes. Dreaming. 37% of travelers in the US think about vacation planning once a month. 17 think about it at least once a week. These people want information about what's possible and what other people have done at their fingertips. Do note that the travel and tourism industry, it's a 7 trillion USD in 2014 and corresponds to 10% of the GDP in the world. And the good news about all of this is that definitely these people want to advertise it, just don't know where. And sometimes we just are so focused on some historical data that we forget the big things out there that we're not targeting. Planning. Mobile flight-related queries on Google.com are up 33% over the year, while mobile hotel queries are up 49%. Booking. Consumers, this is the important part for all of you. consumers aren't necessarily finding what they need from brands on mobile. 46% of travelers who do mobile travel research say they made their final booking decision on a mobile, but moved to another device to make the booking. There are various technological reasons for this, and I'm one of those consumers that would never hardly purchase on a mobile. If you think, for instance, Expedia, they will double your points if you book on your cell phone, and rarely people will do this, even the millennials, and there are technological reasons again for it. Experiencing. Upon arriving at a hotel, a consumer's mobile search behavior is about overcoming unfamiliarity with their current surroundings, and they immediately start thinking and deciding what they're going to do while they're at that destination. So, what do we do? The World Tourism Organization called us one of the best mobile technologies to enrich tourism experience. And just let's focus on this enriched tourism experiences. Let me tell you first about our team. I'm a techie, believe it or not, and I come from the investment side of it. But the founder of this company, he's a PhD historian. Master's in history, Middle Age history, and PhD in history of the church. 30% of our staff, there is a journalist or historians, PhDs. Then we have all the coders of the world, don't get me wrong, they're the base, we're a tech platform. But the problem is, that's what I was saying, this is something that we're missing, and this is what we're missing this target of the millennials. We do not have the right content. We do not understand this experience base, what people want to buy. You want to have human empathy. If not, it's all about the price. If you don't appeal to empathy, you're just focusing as a consumer good on a price. So we do the bridging between content and technology. We create global solutions for tourism and lifestyle, history, heritage, and culture. Basically, these beautiful words, it's called smart tourism, smart cities. So we deliver smart city solutions for the tourism and travel industry. We do global consultancies for tourism boards, and we'll go into interesting ideas about this later, to the smaller brands, to the smaller cities out there. So it's quality tailored products and top level UX. But basically, we come up, if you go to a city, you go to a destination, let me start with something that we're doing right now. So Mexico. There's one thing called Pueblos Mágicos, which is the extension, it's the executive arm of Tourism of Mexico. Okay? When you think Mexico, you have some preconceived ideas about what is tourism in Mexico. So they said, we have 12 Pueblos Mágicos, like they themselves, they say, some less magical than others. And we would like to reposition ourselves. We would like to bring tourism to the less magical of the pueblos. And come here and help us do this. Come us with a solution, technological solution. We have all this content, but we don't really know what to do with it. So we come in, especially now at the historians level or journalist level, and we start understanding what can we do? What is the landscape? What is the history? And we come up with ideas, and then we develop with different people. So we do content. First of all, although we're a technological company, our expertise and what makes us different, and this is why we get the large accounts, because I hear a lot of people talking here about the small business, and I love the small business, I love any business, but we want the big fishes. We want the people that can pay a lot of money and can do big things. And that you are mistaken if you think that even if they have the content, it's not written for today's society. And this is the main issue out there. Even if you go to a big tourism board, San Francisco, they have tons of content, outstandingly amazing content. No one can write better than, it is good, but it was written for once upon a time generation. It was written for a certain format. We can grab all of this, so now we're talking San Francisco, so it's an entirely different thing. We can grab all that outstanding content, has to be rewritten in order to target a certain audience. And this is at a large scale. Now, if you use that across the line, you go into very different ideas. So we write content. We can go even to print, because there are some tourism boards, and there are certain kind of publishers, like for instance, Heritage Village or World Heritage, that's still required because of printing photos, beautiful photos. You still do print, believe it or not. Then, we do, when we say here digital content, we go from website to the museum content inside of there. It passes urban displays, mobile, so it's a cross-platform, and then social media, and then I'll explain a little bit further on this. So, the travel apps market size is 450 billion. New mobile behaviors create new consumer journeys. Google's top questions about travel is what to do in the destination, where is the destination? And that's exactly what we want to target. If you target someone when they're still on the dreaming process, you have a greater chance of selling something to them. And then we go through the exploring part. When people say so, investors pitch, I do a lot of those, that's again my cup of tea. They say, so who are your competitors? I said, Lonely Planet, but they're not digital. And they don't want to be digital. Right or wrong, I don't know, it's their strategy, it's not up to me to challenge them. They're the only ones who have good content out there. But again, who's going to carry this kind of book that you have to make your route planning with all these things? How many of us go on a flight and you see all these people and doing a long journey travel and making these postings? So we have a digital opportunity for content, and you have a technology solution to address then the other constraints of the traveling. But this is where I now go against what I don't agree with Sven. Actually, I totally disagree, and this is my experience. Again, I'm from the tech world, but I started in Hollywood, so content-based stuff, is that there is a lot of crowdsourced content out there. There's a lot of Wikipedia, but that's not what people want to read. There's hundreds and hundreds of apps out there for travel, for whatever you want to think of. But is that content appealing? The design is great. Don't get me wrong. It's like Google just launched a travel app, which we work with them through other parts of the business. But the thing is, this is not what's going to cause emotion empathy. Why would someone pay for this kind of product? So there is a lack of variety. There's a lack of variety in terms of good content. Urban solutions. So let's talk about Tommy's. Let's talk about Rio de Janeiro. The good and the bad before the Olympic Games. So yeah, I was one of those that was on the branding of Rio for the Olympic Games. Couldn't get the website up running. We couldn't get into a different proposal for what Rio should look like, but we managed two things. We managed to launch an app for Rio with different content of what Rio should look like, and we have over 10 of these out in Ipanema, Copacabana, and most touristic places in Rio. What these do, these are urban displays, but they focus on the visitor, on the local. They provide urban information. These are smart city solutions, but focusing on traveling, on events, on your daily life into a city. So activities, events, public service, and a variety of points of interest. Again, very important. In the world of selfies and social media, you can use Tommy to generate your route, tell your friends where we are, export a selfie, send it to your phone because it is a Wi-Fi point, and you can immediately be in connection with your friends. Very important point for advertisers, for all of you. This Monday, I was with the Spanish Tourism Board, the president. Why would they need someone like me? They're number 4th destination worldwide. They have everything. So Maria, one thing for me on top of helping is doing content from other things. Can you help us push our content? We will pay for it, but where are we going to put our content to attract different segments? They're willing to pay, but where are we going to put it? That's the expertise that they're looking for, understanding the customer to see, of course, it's not Google AdWords, because that definitely they know what it is. Where are we going to put these things in order to target these audiences? So we created this amazing algorithm that we call Publisher. How simple is that? Enables the generation of singular tourism and lifestyle content. Our unique algorithm makes it scalable, generating routes around points of interest and snippets is our secret sauce, and we'll get there, written and in audio. The importance about this. Imagine, again, you're the Spanish Tourism Board. You have outstanding content, but it was not written for today's world. We grab all this information, we upload it, and it starts generating, if you go back to this one, we generate content to all these different formats. You all know, you're the social media guys, you do know the maximum words you can use for this. You know the maximum of characters. You know the targets that you're targeting. If you're doing web, it's a format. If you're doing mobile, it's a different format. Imagine if you're inside of a gallery, if you're inside of the Louvre, what is needed? So that algorithm allows us to generate our own content into our customers, and third parties like the big boards to generate content that is interesting, then to go across all the platforms. And then you can feed platforms like Sven. We can make it ourselves. We can build different other applications for it. Then we have, this is what I was trying to show you here. This went back to my phone. You can choose from hundreds. So okay, let me try to be less techy on this. We have an aggregator. So it's one app that is an aggregation of hundreds of apps. This, so you scroll, you choose on the dreaming part, you choose a destination. And on these destinations, you can have our own guides, you can have thematic guides, then we can have paid guides. For instance, we are the exclusive technological provider for Tourism of Portugal. We do anything from technology to all their contents they're provided by us. When we're doing this scrolling, you will see that there's a sign here on the right side that means who is the provider of the content or who is the brand behind it. And this is very important, but it is an aggregation. So if you're looking for quality content inside of the travel and tourism industry, you will go to this final mobile destination to get it. Another important characteristic, we users create a tour based on their location, available time, and interest. So you define the time that you have. Most of us, even if you're on vacation, you do not want to spend an entire day seeing museums. There's so much of history that a human wants to see in one day. So you define how much you want to see. If you want to go inside of these places, if you want to, if you want to walk, if you want to take the subway. Important thing now by saying subway about this idea about user experience. If you use Google Maps, and I don't know if Mr. Google is here, it will tell you if you want to go from point A to point B, it will send you through the shortest connection. If you take our route planner, and if you enter the subway, I will send you through the most comfortable route, i.e. Google, although Google does not make planning for subways, but in any of these travel apps out there, you will say, you're on the red line, get out on station A, take line B, and you'll get to your point that is C. I will tell you to stay 10 minutes on the red line, and you'll get there. It is more comfortable to the end user. We're not in a hurry. It's much better, it's much more comfortable for the user to stay on the subway. Now let's go to the snippets, because this is the importance for all of you to sell advertising, and this is the importance for creating brands. Snippets are stories of context. They are the edutainment of any city. Jack the Ripper. The first assassination of Jack the Ripper is theoretically for a lady called Polly, as in Whitechapel in London. That is the information that if you spent your day in London, and you've all been to London at least 15 times, but you're having a business dinner that night, that is the information that you're gonna want to talk about. You want to talk about, did you know that, this was the first place, this was the place where Jack the Ripper made his first assassination. This is what you're going to retain. This is today's society. You want to go to London and see Sherlock Holmes London. You don't necessarily want to go and see Tower Bridge. No. You might like it, you might not like it, does not matter. This is today's consumer. If you pick up on all these stories, and now I've just came on a very violent kind of almost topics, but you're a hotel chain in Paris, okay? And I could go back to Brazil, and that's an interesting story. You have different target segments. You have the families, you have the business travel, you have all of these things. You got to use these stories to create different segmentation. You create guides to the families. Paris by D'Artagnan, the Three Musketeers. It's a much more interesting tour. That is something you want to do with your kids. You do not want to take him for 3 hours at the Louvre. This allows us to have a product to sell to hotel chains, which we concretely do. Did you ladies know that there is a jewelry diamonds route in Rio de Janeiro? Very interesting for the hotel chains, Copacabana. We build it from there, which turn This is just one point in a big, much larger scope of products that you have to sell to companies, but they're based on understanding the content that today does not exist. They exist Stern, the jewelry designer, and existed 5-star luxury hotels out there. And now how you build these two things together, and any other brand out there that could fit into this creation of this route of luxury in Rio. The only thing we sell as of today in our web is Vieta as a booker for experiences. So you're outside of the Louvre, you don't want to go into the line, so you buy your ticket there, or you buy the opera that night, or any kind of those services. This is important to note. Why would someone like us and deliver solutions to big brands will not want to have any advertising or selling any other products? Because it's not being targeted correctly. And if you start putting things that is not targeted correctly into an app, you just get disinformation. You lose the target, you lose your customer. And that comes back to an opportunity. Every single customer that I sit, from tourism boards to hotel chains to whatever, they have money to spend. They just are not convinced on what we're offering them, where to spend it. They want to advertise, but they also want to have new customers. And how we're targeting these new customers is the problem. It's a big problem. Trust me, it's huge amounts of money that is sitting out there. Even go Telefonica. Like, why wouldn't Telefonica, MasterCard, Visa, whatever? You get into a country, you have an app for that country, which was already subsidized by the tourism board. Why isn't no one sponsoring that? They will, if you get to them. So, 3 types of authoring content. And this is important, again, on creating brands. The thematic, Jack the Ripper, Sherlock Holmes, Forbidden City, Civil War, Atlantis, UFOs, standard city guides, and then commission. This concept of commission, going back to your printed media, very important. We just signed a deal for a magazine, a wine magazine. They used to have a big market. It keeps on being declined, but they do have quality content. And specifically, these guys have very good quality content. Now we've enabled them a technology that they can use all their past historical data and content that they had on wines and bring it on a mobile device. And everything that's going to be built on the future, they'll be using our platform to generate this new content, so it's already going to be built properly in order to be going into the mobile and the web place. Historical vision and all of those things. Okay. Business model is basically B2B to C, because in the end, although it is a B2B, you always end up on the end consumer. Implemented offers. So Rio, you have Tourism of Portugal, Irish Times, New York Times. Because we've signed with, just a clear example how you get to business to consumer, because we've signed with Tourism of Portugal to become their own technological provider, we became immediately #1 app in the country, which it was very good to see that in front of WhatsApp. So that's pretty much it.
How are you? Sorry. Thanks very much. This has been very interesting, and I think a lot of forward-looking information and ideas. And now I'm going to ask you, please, if you come sit down now. We're going to do the Q&A at the end of Bruno's presentation. So I'm just welcoming Bruno from Store Local Group. I guess many of you know Bruno for a long time now, but for those of you who don't, so Bruno is managing the partnership at the Store Local Group, so #1 digital advertising player in France, if we can say so. And he's responsible, for the partnerships. And he's going to talk about how Store Local revamped their own operations to take into account the verticals and to resegment their own group organization towards the vertical lines. Bruno.
Thank you. So yes, I am going to go through verticals with a different perspective of a player who has decided end of 2013, start of 2014 to verticalize fully the organization. So I will remind you a bit about that before sharing the latest results that we have experienced with that change. So first, our mission is to reveal local know-how everywhere, and by that boost the local revenues of businesses. So the way we do that is by structuring pretty much like I saw yesterday, I think, in several presentations, our offer in two main business lines, which are local search and digital marketing. Basically, local search is about exposing and generating traffic to SMBs through our own and operated media, which are Page Jaune, so the French Yellow Pages, Mappy, which is a mapping and routing brand, Eureka, which is a how-to content brand, and several other smaller vertical websites, such as the one that you see here, Avandralway, which is a real estate classifieds website. And I also heard during the conference that many companies say they are seeing traffic decreasing. So thankfully, we are very happy because we registered in June our record in terms of reach rates, so of 60%. That means that our media is attracting more and more users, so can be a result of verticalization. The other thing we have into local search is extending, in fact, the traffic beyond our media, and that's we do that through several ways of collaborations with large players. Can be whether through presence management, through audience partnerships, or through paid campaigns. So on this side of the business, which is the main basis of the business today, we have got more than 500,000 customers who generate also 500 million euros of revenues, which is 78% of our total internet revenues. And on the other side, so we are trying to provide to these customers more and more digital marketing solutions that are on the right side of the screen, especially website creation, appointment booking, we discussed about that earlier, presence management. So that's when we are talking about, let's say, presence and transactional on top of the presence. And the other side is how to give even more visibility to our customers through paid campaigns. And we are leveraging on the huge data we are generating thanks to our traffic by operating, for instance, local retargeting and pre-targeting campaigns in order to propose to SMBs or larger networks to be able to reach customers that are meaningful for them in terms of purchasing intent. We are also proposing campaigns that allow them to be more visible on the largest websites such as Google and Facebook. So currently, in fact, only one quarter of our customers have been subscribing to this kind of solutions, and we see that as a main revenue driver in the future to be able to increase this penetration. Sorry, just to complement that, so total revenues now are close to 900 million if we include print and voice, which are still around 25%, so that's the 2015 figures. And we built that building AdTech, so most of the solutions there are internally built in order to make sure that we have the more strategic relationship with all players compared to sometimes relying on vendors that might be in between of us. So, how did the verticalization happen in terms of organization? So we decided basically to split the whole customer base into 6 segments, which are home, services, retail, health and public, and B2B, plus one segment which is large brands with a network of stores. And so for each of these segments, in fact, we created a specific customer segmentation, marketing, sales, and operations. and that we also started to learn through the 2 years now that the organization has been live about implementing new tools, new sales approach, new customer service approaches towards these segments. And so in this matrix organization, these business units can tap into the business lines that I've mentioned, which are local search and so within digital marketing, website and contents, and data, programmatic search and social advertising. So here are some KPIs of the 5 business units if I exclude the one about networks today. So they are very specific, each of them. I won't go through all the details, but you can see that sometimes the one that generate more traffic are not the one that generate more revenues. So that means that the potential of the vertical and the competitive also environment is very different. For instance, we are very well monetizing, obviously, home improvement. Retail remains something more difficult for us to monetize, and that's where there is also a quite important competition. Another place where there is important competition also is on services. I'm talking there about real estate, about automotive. We have in front of us groups such as Axel Springer with Se Loger or Schibsted with Le Bon Coin, which are both successes in their verticals. So that's why, and that was one of the rationale also of the verticalization, we have to have the best value proposition to go to the real estate agents, for instance, and be able to have a competitive proposition compared to those guys in front of us. So I will now go very quickly through the different verticals just to highlight some of the things that have evolved in a specific way, and so are illustrations of the verticalization. So if we start with home improvement here, that might be one of the places where maybe things have moved less, because we are very strong on this and we have no competitor that are very aggressive on this. So there's Home Advisor that is a significant player in other countries, not yet that aggressive in France, and so far we have been rolling out all the products, but with much focus on Yellow Pages search, which brings a lot of traffic to these businesses. We've only made special efforts on generating reviews to make our users even more confident about the business they will choose, and we've implemented some solutions around CRM to allow these businesses that are often on the move to be able to more easily on their mobile manage their appointments, their leads, etc. Services, so which is the combination of real estate, automotive, bank and insurance. There we have a more specific offering with things like classified ads for real estate and automotive. We have also launched a service that is tapping into the sharing economy opportunity around C2C personal services. And because we have this strong website around the how-to content, so how to lend, how to borrow money, how to buy a car, how to make a loan, we are giving visibility to our businesses in this context in order to take the user from the purchasing intent down to the contact with the professional. On websites of Fully, so which is an internally developed platform, we are plugging more and more vertical options so that the website is relevant for each of the verticals. So here, for instance, for a real estate agent, we have the possibility to plug the list of the classifieds. We are also, for a bank on an insurance, able to plug the appointment scheduling feature. Retail, so that's where maybe there are more initiatives. Hopefully there is a great, not hopefully, obviously there is a great stake about the user traffic, because here we are competing with TripAdvisor and the likes, with including in table reservation through their acquisition of La Fourchette. So we are making much efforts on mobile reviews, photos, and transactional in order to be a trustable choice for users in that area. We are also selling visibility in all that relates to mobility, and we have a very strong brand on that, Mappy, which surprisingly is seeing a huge growth in traffic, even though there are other choices for the user. We are implementing booking, obviously. We have also relaunched our food delivery service with the possibility to order in a grouped way on a location-based basis in order to reduce the cost of delivery for each of the people ordering. And we have also implemented within also the Mappy brand local product inventory that makes local product searchable on a local level in order to generate product-based searches traffic. On the digital marketing side, again, we have vertical options within the website offering. We are selling also for large brands with a network of store and product locators. And our presence management offer is taking particular attention on this vertical, as we are trying to help businesses pushing more than basic content, but also hot content such as menu of the day, promotions, and so on, to make the presence management useful on a daily basis. That's also on this vertical that maybe pre-targeting is going to be the more meaningful. We are tracking the X and the Y of users, enabled by that to learn about from where to where they go, where they stop, and if they stop at a supermarket, to be able to sell the possibility of another brand to target them in order to maybe switch supermarket. That's also one of the main verticals where we have launched the social advertising product that is quite similar to some of you have launched in the last years. Sorry. On health and public, this is a quite complex vertical, and that's where we are also happy to have a dedicated approach. We see that it's a difficult market to enter, and one of the key initiatives we've had in this vertical is to roll out aggressively appointment scheduling for doctors. So with a freemium offer that makes us forecast that we will have 11,000 doctors that will use our solution end of this year, so full real-time appointment booking solution. We are also seeing that in that segment, our customers are not necessarily SMBs. They can be public hospitals, they can be private clinics. It takes time to discuss with these guys and cover all of their needs. So we are having improving our key accounts approach in this vertical especially, and proposing a very specific offer made really in relationship with their specific needs. On B2B, this is a vertical where we've been traditionally a bit poor. What we've launched recently is in our Yellow Pages website, the possibility, in fact, to integrate keywords that might not be so new, but that allows B2B users to find very specific type of products rather than generic categories, and so that's been very popular with B2B customers. We have also introduced vertical options in the website offer with a more premium approach, fully customized websites. And we have integrated options that can be interesting for B2B, like IP tracking that allows to identify the companies that have visited your website and then become leads that you can contact as they have expressed interest for your company. Very quickly, I will now finish with sharing some figures about the latest results that we experience as a result of this organization. So what we've shared is that during H1 of this year, we've experienced, I think for the first time since quite a long time, a positive growth in revenues, in total revenues, including print. So a growth of 10% on internet, driven, as you see, mostly by digital marketing, which gets back to my point of digital marketing being our main revenue driver, certainly in the future. The next step we now foresee is we will continue to verticalize the user experience to fit with the customer journey. I think that was really mentioned at the very start of the conference, and this is really something that we trust is very important, is always start with thinking about the final consumer. As a result, we will also continue to verticalize the customer approach and the portfolio. Talking about sales, we will, as it was the aim already of the new organization, we will ask each sales rep to spend more time and go more frequently visit customers in order to better understand their needs. And we will try to do that more efficiently by segmenting between maybe customers that have the same needs each year and that can maybe be treated in an automated way versus the one that need a more personalized relationship. So I shared figures about the first half new orders. So now we shared also about the way we see the business evolving by 2018, and maybe the only column I would like to focus on is the growth 2017-2018. So we see that we plan to consolidate on this new order growth that we have experienced and will be seen in results H2 of next year, and that should be so the continuity of a return to positive growth thanks to, we think, the verticalization. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you, Maria. We're running out of time, but I think we have time for one or two questions.
I have one question, but we can answer this later, because we've heard about inbound marketing. We've heard about content. And my question is to Bruno on how much content, and yesterday we talked about that, on how much do you outsource that, do you insource that? What are you doing with your verticals? Are you getting content for those?
So we are whether insourcing or outsourcing. For instance, let's take 2 examples. Reviews. We are making our best efforts to generate as many reviews as possible. We have generated 1 million, which might be low, not enough. And on that, we have made also partnerships with companies that can bring us more reviews. So that's one example of outsourcing or partnering, at least, to bring more content. Another example of that is on table booking. So we want to be stronger in this area. However, we recognize that there is already a strong player also in France, which is so TripAdvisor through La Fourchette. So we are integrating, in fact, the links from La Fourchette. So we want to our priority is the customer experience. So if a partner can help us improving this customer experience, we will outsource some of the content and get it into our media.
And then on time, I think we have to move on, but Maria, I want to talk to you later, okay? Because I really want to find out what do the millennials really want to read, okay? Thank you.